Alright guys, welcome back to the Wrestling Show. This is a bonus episode, a final review of WrestleMania 34. We already did an instant take of what I thought. This will be a review for what you thought of the show, and kind of my final takes after having a few days to let it settle in and what my feelings are now. I should say I am your host, Mikey.
And I'm Andrea.
Excellent. Let's get into it. So on the kickoff show, we started out with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This is the one where Matt Hardy won. Bray Wyatt came in, gave him a little bit of assistance by distracting some of the other guys there, Baron Corbin, and he got Matt Hardy eliminated the last guy, and then Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt embraced, and they did a little pose together.
Yeah.
What did you think of this match?
You know what? That was exciting. And I thought Baron Corbin and getting out was exciting. The way they got him out. Because he's such a big guy. Oh, he's telling me to speak up. Anyways. Yeah, he's such a big guy. And it's always fun to see two dudes knock a guy over. But yeah, was it surprising? I mean, not really. But it's interesting to see Bray Wyatt now teaming up with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, same for me. I wasn't surprised or shocked by this at all. I kind of thought this was how it might go, but it was interesting enough. I'm glad to see the storyline going forward. I'm interested to see what Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are going to do, what they're going to do together in the future. So
yeah,
I thought it was good. Next up after that, we had the Cruiserweight title match between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Cedric Alexander ended up winning this match.
You know, I was rooting for Mustafa Ali, but I think that both of their performances were really good. So, Cedric, congrats, and I think,
Yeah, congrats to Cedric. I'd say the same as you. I felt like they had a really good performance. I was rooting for Mustafa Ali myself. Cedric Alexander, his character kind of falls flat a little bit with me. He's like a really good in-ring performer, but he's just not quite the charismatic guy that Mustafa Ali is. So hopefully he'll be able to kickstart, winning the championship is going to kickstart, some charisma for him, and he'll be more of a charismatic character.
Yeah.
But another thing I liked about this match, because it's WrestleMania, so you get different entrances. I like Mustafa Ali's entrance here as well. He said it was supposed to symbolize being a beacon of light and hope for everybody out there, and he had like the lighty up mask, kind of like Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
And then he had on like the beam on his hand that was like shooting out like a beacon of light. So I think that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
After this, they cut to a shot of John Cena sitting in the stands, in the front row of the crowd, enjoying himself. So, what did you think? Did you think like, okay, yeah, John Cena, he's actually in the crowd with the fans?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, he wasn't really in the crowd. I mean, he was with the fans, but he wasn't really with the fans.
Yeah.
At that point, but
Right. Let's see here. Next up after this, we had the Women's Memorial Battle Royal. What did you think of this match?
Well, who was I rooting for? I was rooting for Bayley, but Sasha's and Bayley's feud? I can't remember how she didn't win, but Naomi came in and while Bayley was distracted or something.
Yeah, so what happened here was Bayley threw Sasha over the top rope.
Oh, that's right.
She thought she won, but Naomi hadn't actually ever been thrown over the top rope. She had gone under the bottom rope or through the middle rope or something. At some point she got knocked out of the ring, but she didn't go over the top, so she wasn't actually eliminated, but she stayed on the outside. So then when Bayley thought she had won, Naomi actually came back in, and then Naomi eliminated Bayley.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I liked it. I liked how they kept the feud going between Sasha and Bailey. Because, like, what? It was supposed to be, like, a handshake or something. But then she was like, no, going over.
Right, yeah. You don't have to talk over this way.
What?
Talk towards the mic. So the mic picks you up.
Oh, okay. But yeah. I was also excited for Naomi to win because I like Naomi.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
They haven't really done much with her.
Right, yeah.
Since I started this past year, but... What? They can still hear me, right?
No, look, we're recording in real time, listeners. We can look at your waveforms, like right back there. Look, it's almost not registering. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Anyways, so I was rooting for Becky Lynch to win, and what kind of felt like to me here was, and with Bull, because they did a couple special entrances here for some of the women as well. Like they actually had, because all men, they just started out in the ring, but Becky got her entrance before everybody else came in. Then a bunch of people came in, and then Sasha came in, then Bailey came in. Like they each got their own separate entrances, and it was nice for Becky because I kind of feel like she's one of the women I feel like they should be doing something with, that they should have a storyline for her, but they haven't. And I thought, like, okay, this is nice. They're giving her music. She's actually getting an entrance, so maybe this is going to mean something. But she got, like, eliminated halfway through the match, and it didn't really lead to anything. So I kind of felt like, oh, well, this is kind of a, metaphor for how her career in WWE is going right now. Like, she can be, a star if you put her out in the front, but sometimes WWE forgets about her, and then she just kind of gets,
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. Maybe they'll give her more.
Yeah. We had the main show. After this, we get America the Beautiful, because that's Vince McMahon's favorite song that gets sang. And we open up with the Intercontinental title match between Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz. What did you think of this?
I thought The Miz was going to win, but...
Okay, but what?
You know what? I'm not going to do this with you anymore. You keep doing that.
Okay, but what?
Stop. Yeah. It was... if either Seth Rollins or Finn Balor, I would have went with Finn Balor. But Seth Rollins is pretty entertaining, and like I was telling him, even though I didn't research it, I thought that Seth Rollins at some point was supposed to go to WrestleMania but missed his opportunity because he got injured, or that could have been somebody else, but I don't know. So maybe this was his comeback.
Yeah, overall, I thought this match was really good. I liked some of the high spots. I liked, that, Seth Rollins won. He came out looking cool. He had like a Game of Thrones look on there. I really liked Finn Balor's entrance as well, doing the LGBTQ thing and his whole, from what I've heard, like what's going on backstage is like he's the one that's actually like pushing for it too. Like he's really been on WWE, like, oh, we like should be including these guys, you know, like, and he wants to make his whole Balor Club, Balor Club is for everyone and everything. So I think that's cool. Seth Rollins, the way he got the win is he did I like the stomp that he did to, he did it to the back of Finn when Finn was like trying to like do something to, I think he was trying to pin Miz, or he was doing the move to Miz, and then they kind of like hit each other, and then Seth Rollins does another stomp to Miz right after that. So I thought that was kind of a cool finish.
Yeah, that was a cool finish.
Yes, it was. Let's see here. Next up was another great match, I thought, was for the women's SmackDown title, Charlotte versus Asuka. What did you think of this match? Charlotte ended up winning here and retaining. She ended Asuka's undefeated streak.
Well, I was sad that Asuka didn't win, so I got a little bit emotional. But I don't know. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's how I felt too at first. I was like, oh man, that's a real bummer that Asuka lost the match. Like, I thought we'd been following her on the street this whole entire time, and then she doesn't even get the title out of it. But overall, I mean, the match was really great, I thought. Like, to me, it was one of the best matches of the night overall. Um, I like that little, like, backflip Spanish fly they did off the top rope. That was a pretty amazing move when Asuka caught Charlotte, when Charlotte tries to do the moonsault off the top, and then Asuka, like, catches her with her legs and then puts her in an arm bar. That was a really good spot.
Yeah.
And overall, Charlotte, she's the most accomplished woman in WWE right now. So if Asuka's going to get her streak broken by anybody, you know, it's not going to look bad on Asuka's career to get her loss to Charlotte. And, you know, at least it came on, like, you know, it happened on the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. It didn't happen on some random SmackDown episode or something.
Yeah.
So if that was going to be lost, I thought that was good. And both women put on a really good show. So, you know, like I said, I was really rooting for Asuka, but this also, like, she doesn't have the weight of the undefeated streak looming over her head anymore, so they can really start to book her on in different types of storylines other than just the storyline of, like, oh, hey, look, she's undefeated. She might lose a streak. They can actually give her some more, you know, in-depth storylines or meaningful storylines or just, you know, different stuff.
Okay.
Okay?
That sounds exciting.
Yes. Next up after this was our U.S. title match with Bobby Roode versus Rusev versus Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. Jinder Mahal ended up winning here.
I was surprised that Jinder Mahal would win. Yeah. That's all I have to say. I was surprised.
Yes, I was surprised too. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a lot to say either about this one overall. I really thought Bobby Roode going into this might be the one who wins. I thought, especially because Rusev was in the match, and Rusev is so over with the fans. I thought maybe if Bobby Roode did something to Rusev to end up winning the U.S. title, and then Bobby Roode turned heel, and then you have Rusev still being the babyface. Like, maybe Bobby Roode does something to Rusev during the match and pins Rusev, and then Bobby Roode goes back to being his heel like he was in NXT, because he's not really, like, when he first got called up to the main roster, fans were really excited, but he's been a babyface the whole time, and in NXT he was a heel, and and a really good one. So I thought maybe this would be a chance for them to change him back to being a heel so that he could be really exciting again and not just exciting because of his song.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could have Bobby Roode and Rusev, like one of the most over guys right now with the fans, that they could start a feud. But we get Jinder Mahal again, and, you know, we know now that Jinder Mahal is going to face against Randy Orton at the Greatest Royal Rumble later this month, so I guess they're going back to the same feud that they did last year, so I'm not too excited about that, but I guess we'll see what comes of it.
Yep.
Let's see here. After that, this was I think this was, for the matches of the night, my favorite matches of the night. It was either the Charlotte versus Asuka match, or was this next match, which was the Stephanie McMahon and Triple H versus Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. What did you think of this match?
I really enjoyed it. To see Ronda Rousey out there doing her UFC style kind of thing, it was good. And yeah, I mean, she for the most part played her part well.
Yeah, I think so. I thought she did really well. Like, I think she surprised a lot of people on how well she was able to, you know, wrestle in the ring, which I don't think a lot of people should be surprised. A lot of people thought, you know, maybe she wasn't going to be able to do it, but she was like one of the top woman athletes in the world for years, so it shouldn't be any big surprise that, you know, she's been training and training for however long now to get ready for her debut at WrestleMania, and they've probably been, you know, working on the plan on how this match was going to go for months and months.
Mm-hmm.
So it shouldn't be any surprise that like she was able to pull it off because she's Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. Yeah, and didn't she lift like Triple H?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
Well.
to show how strong she is.
Yeah. What were your favorite parts of this match?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember every part. I don't know what my favorite part. Maybe it was the part where she got Stephanie McMahon to tap out.
Yeah, that was the
Breaking her.
finish. Yeah, finishes are they're usually pretty exciting there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. Do you want to say yours and go over?
Oh, I thought it was really good when Ronda Rousey, when Triple H and Ronda Rousey are in the ring and they're getting ready to square off, and technically they don't ever really do that, but Triple H is being the boss, and he pulls the ref over the corner, and he's like, okay, ref, just stay right here, like I got this. And then Ronda Rousey comes over and starts like punching him, and Triple H is like doing this in the corner, like he's like totally overwhelmed. He can't, protect himself because Ronda's like totally just overwhelming him with her punches. I thought that was really good job on their part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just that kind of stuff I thought was done really well.
Yeah, it was done really well, and how he was gonna go punch Ronda, and he almost punched his wife.
Yeah, and then the other part, Stephanie McMahon, really pulling a, McMahon type of stuff that, the fans are used to the McMahons, being heels, and Stephanie kept throughout the match before Ronda got tagged in. She kept running over to, on the outside of the ring over to Ronda before she could get tagged in, and pulling her off the side and pushing her off before Kurt Angle would tag her in, and then Stephanie would run back over to her corner so that Ronda wouldn't get a chance to hit her back. So I thought that was done really well.
Yeah, that was done.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah, because then when Ronda Rousey finally got tagged in, like the fans were like, they went crazy because they were like, okay, yes, like, go kill Stephanie.
Yeah.
Any more to say about that one?
No.
Okay, so next up we had the SmackDown Tag Title match. This was the New Day versus Usos versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Bludgeon Brothers ended up getting the win here. This was a shorter match. It's too bad that these guys didn't get a little bit more time, because I was expecting that this would be a really good match with what we've seen from the Usos versus New Day in the past, and with the Bludgeon Brothers being introduced a few months ago, and the way they've been like dominating. I thought this might be like a really big high spot, but it seemed like they were given a shorter time slot, so the Bludgeon Brothers just kind of dominated and got the belts.
Yeah.
What did you think of this match overall?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was good. I liked how they got to that point where who did they take out? It was one of the Uso brothers, wasn't it? Anyways. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty fun to watch. And I was going to say more, and I can't remember. It was entertaining. I can't remember. But yeah, so it did get a shorter time slot, but I wonder if like maybe the other ones went on longer than they should have, and that's what went through my mind as to why it was shorter. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And then actually there's a match a little bit later on the card. When we get to it, I'll mention it, but there was one in particular that I thought should have went a lot shorter than it did, that it could have maybe gave this match, an extra 5 minutes or something, or 5 or 7 minutes, to let them tell a little bit longer story inside the ring. But we'll mention it when we get to there. Let's get up to the next one. So at some point, we see a ref, he comes and talks to John Cena in the stands, and John Cena looks excited. He's like, oh, what? And he runs out and runs up the ramp and goes backstage, so everybody's like, oh, okay, yes, Undertaker must be here. Oh, and this actually happened right after the Asuka and Charlotte match. That was one thing I mean, it doesn't bother me too much, but it was a little thing where I was like, I don't like that too much, because it seems like every time like the women, sometimes when they have a big moment, something else happens that kind of interrupts.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the Royal Rumble when Asuka won, like Ronda Rousey came out, and that was fine because it was Ronda Rousey and they wanted to debut her, but it kind of took away from,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Asuka winning a little bit
Yeah.
in some people's mind. Not really my mind too much, but in some people it did. And then this time, you know, right when Charlotte wins, like she's still in the ring celebrating, and then we cut to John Cena like running up the ramp and getting all excited, and so it's like okay, like you couldn't wait for, they couldn't wait, you know, a couple more minutes for Charlotte to just finish celebrating and then leave, and then, you know, we see you know, the ref going up to John Cena.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
anyway, so we got that, and then eventually John Cena comes out, you know, to his music, all ready to go, and then we were thinking, okay, Undertaker's gonna come, and then Elias comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and he does his thing, singing, you know, crap about the fans there in New Orleans and WrestleMania, and you know,
The fans are loving him.
yeah, fans love him, you know, and they boo him like they're supposed to. And then so John Cena gets all bummed out, and so he leaves the ring, and then Elias gets in there and he starts playing in there, and then he says something about how John Cena sucks. So then John Cena comes in and starts, he attacks and Elias pretty quick there, makes quick work of him, and then so he stands in the ring there for a minute thinking like, okay, is Undertaker gonna come now? Nothing happens, and then John Cena music hits, and he starts walking up the ramp. And normally at the end of a segment, that's what would normally happen. Your music hits, and then you walk up the ramp because your music's playing, so they're playing you off. And then he gets like halfway up the ramp, and then boom, you know, we get like the lights go out, and then the light comes back up, a spotlight in the middle of the ring, and we see Undertaker's hat and his jacket that was left there from last year. Lights go back off again, and then lightning hits, and then the lights come on again, and the hat and jacket aren't there anymore again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the gong hit, lights go out, and we get the gong hit and the music, and boom, here's Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Undertaker versus John Cena match. This was another one that was like only 5 minutes, maybe less. But Undertaker really does all his old signature moves on John Cena, make quick work of him, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then Undertaker got the win. We got the return of our C Undertaker. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was very quick, I thought too, but I guess it had to be.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you think about? How do you feel about that? I mean, were you excited just to see the Undertaker, or like were you upset because you thought you were gonna get a longer match, or like how did you feel about
No, I was fine, but yeah, I was just excited to see the Undertaker come back. I mean, he is old.
it? Yeah. Well, yeah, and
So.
I feel the same way, but I guess afterwards I've seen a lot of like complaints from fans saying like, oh man, that wasn't even really a match, it was just a squash match.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we were going to be building up to something bigger and better than that. Well, I say WrestleMania 35 is next year. Undertaker looked better than ever. So I think now this is something John Cena, if he wanted to, he could say, oh yeah, well, you know what, that wasn't fair. I wasn't prepared to have a match. You know, I just was sitting in the crowd. I was happy to be a fan. And then all of a sudden Undertaker says he's ready to accept my challenge and takes me by surprise. He could say that kind of a deal. And then it could be a whole year-long build-up to where we get a match next year. Because you probably didn't see the news, but Undertaker, he's already been booked to go to the Greatest Royal Rumble later this month. And he's going to be fighting against Chris Jericho in a casket match. So it's the first one. It's a match where you have to throw your opponent into the casket and close the door to be the winner. So that's already scheduled. So it looks like he's healthy enough that he can come back and at least wrestle every once in a while.
Mhm.
Because he had hip surgery, and apparently he's feeling a lot better now ever since he had his hip surgery. And I listened to X-Pac's podcast, and he was saying that he talked to Undertaker, and Undertaker told him, like, I wish, I would have just gotten this surgery done a long time ago in the past and gotten over my ego, because, I thought, maybe it was a thing where he was afraid to get the hip surgery
Mhm.
kind of thing before he ended his career, but it actually has helped him a lot, and he's like in a lot better shape than he has been in a long time. So,
Mhm.
maybe the hip surgery has him feeling like, oh yeah, maybe I can still do this every once in a while, not like a full-time schedule, but
Mhm.
every once in a while. So I don't think we've seen the end of Undertaker. Obviously we haven't, because he's going to be at the greatest Royal Rumble, but I think that's not going to be his last either.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Next up after this was another match that I thought was great, just because we get to see the return of Daniel Bryan in the ring. So this was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon get the win here, so that's great for Daniel Bryan to get a win. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were fighting for their SmackDown jobs, but they lost, so they have been fired from SmackDown. What did you think of this match?
And that was a good match. And I was glad that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lost.
Yes, me too. I'm glad that they lost. Just because I was happy for Daniel Bryan to get a win. I didn't want to see him lose on his first returning match, especially at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
Another one. This is another one I've seen some people complaining about, that like Daniel Bryan was like, they attacked Daniel Bryan at the beginning of the match, so he wasn't in it for like the first 10 minutes. So we had to
That's
watch
right.
Shane McMahon do a lot of the match, and he kept like holding his stomach because of his hernia deal.
Mhm.
So people wanted to see a lot more of Daniel Bryan, but once Daniel Bryan got in there, I got to see the stuff from Daniel Bryan that I want to see.
Mhm.
So I thought it was a good return, and I can't wait to see more of Daniel Bryan in the future. Overall, I thought the work that they did was good. Would I have liked to see Daniel Bryan involved more than like that 5 or 10 minutes that he was laying on the floor on the outside? Yeah, I would have liked him seeing him involved during that amount of time, but I thought they did an effective job of just showing how bad guys Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are. So
Mhm. They wanted to at least get some of that spotlight too,
yeah.
because they got fired.
Right. Okay, so next up was the women's title match for the Raw Women's title. This was Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. What did you think of this match?
Well, pretty much I figured that Nia would win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like the only one person that I actually thought was gonna win was Nia.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, it was fun to see Nia, squish Alexa.
Yeah, she squished Alexa pretty good. And she took out Mickey James before the match. That way she knew that it was going to be a fair match, and it would just be her and Alexa. This was the match, actually, that I mentioned earlier, that I thought this could have been maybe 5 minutes shorter. Because at one point Alexa did mount a little bit of offense against Nia. Like, there was a couple times where Nia was like dominating her, and then Alexa would like poke her in the eyes and then start doing stuff to her. I felt like maybe they should have just done that once, and maybe they could have done that right in the beginning, where like Nia gets a hold of her right away and is like beating her, and then Alexa pokes her in the eyes, does a little bit of damage, and then Nia recovers real quick and then just dominates Alexa again and then pins her. So I felt like this was one of the ones that could have been a little bit shorter, just because I wanted to see Nia like obliterate Alexa. So I think it went on a little bit too long to like get the point across that Nia like got her revenge. It was like, okay, we get it, Alexa, she has a moveset and she can, and she's a bad guy, but like I want to see the good guy squash the bad guy right now, not just see the bad guy keep poking the good guy in the eyes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah. That's the only thing. I mean, otherwise, I'm happy with the outcome, and the performance that they did was good. I thought it just could have been, they could have made it even a bigger point on how strong Nia is by her like winning even a little bit faster. Okay, next up after this was Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles got the win. He keeps a SmackDown title. What did you think of this match?
Well, I thought it was good. I was hoping Shinsuke Nakamura would win, and he didn't, but the way they ended it, I like that part where he just like, I don't know, arms him in the balls.
Yeah.
Pretending that he was...
Yeah, when he gave him that low blow there, and turned heel. This was one that was like an emotional roller coaster ride for me. WrestleMania overall was like an emotional roller coaster ride for me, where I was happy. I was like, I'd be really excited and happy about some things, and then some other things like I was so like sad or upset about that I was like, why are they doing this? This was one of the ones at first, like I wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to win so bad that I was like so like sad and upset, and I was marking out over this match. And I was like, why did he lose? Why is he turning heel? And we'll get to it on our regular episode when we do our regular episode of our Raw and SmackDown review from the shows after WrestleMania. But I think Nakamura is actually going to be a really good heel, so I've come back around. I kind of did what I said, that I don't like what some people do is they judge each thing from moment to moment and not look at the long term. I was just looking at that moment, and I was not happy about that moment. But after seeing this past week on SmackDown, I'm like, okay, Nakamura is going to be a really good heel. He's going to play that part really well. But overall, this was the match I was most excited for. So I was most disappointed in this match. Now, even still, days later, when I look back on it, I'm most disappointed in it, because the story they were telling us leading up to this match was okay, other fans know, fans who are not just casual fans, they know that AJ Styles and Nakamura fought once in Tokyo, in Japan, in New Japan, but most people don't, and so they're building this as this is the dream match, and you're going to get it at WrestleMania. This is going to be the time that you get it. So I was really expecting them to put on the best match ever type of deal, and they put on some really good spots, but then at the end of the match, when you see Nakamura turning heel, it makes me think they were saving their best stuff, because they're really going to have, instead of two guys who are just big fans of each other and respect each other so much, one's actually going to be the face now and one's going to be the heel, and they're actually going to have a real feud. So it makes me feel they're saving all their best stuff for later, which makes me kind of bummed out. I thought this was going to be the time that we were going to get all the best stuff, you know. So, and when that didn't turn out to be the case, I was kind of oh well, that's a bum. They've been trying from what I've gotten from the storyline, they're telling me this is going to be the time that they fight against each other, not that it's going to lead to more of a feud. So, yeah, I just felt it was held back a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this did get me emotional. Yeah, because I remember, was it Nakamura who was getting on, what I was trying to say before, he got on his knees and was going to hand AJ the title. The belt. Yeah. And I was why would they do that? Why would they have him do that?
Yeah. Well, so from somebody who's been watching wrestling since I was a kid, when he started doing that, I was already thinking, oh my gosh, are they really doing this? Are they really... This almost always happens when, especially because Nakamura didn't have the title already. Sometimes you get it if a babyface is facing another babyface, and at this point they were having both guys play a character of a babyface. You would get the one who was a champion, if he just lost, then he would like willingly be like, okay, yep, I'm a good guy, you're a good guy, and you were the better good guy this time, so here's the belt.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's two good guys facing each other, and then the guy who doesn't already have the belt, if he loses anyways, there's no reason for him to go over and get the belt and present it to the person it's already their belt anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So like when he got down on one knee and was presenting him the belt down on one knee, I was like, oh my gosh, they're turning Nakamura heel. I'm such a big fan of Nakamura. I think, like I said, it got me, like upset at first just because like I'm such a big fan of him. I wasn't ready for it at first.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they did now after watching Raw and SmackDown
Okay.
this week and
Yeah.
just seeing the way like the unique style that Nakamura does and what he can bring to being a heel and the way he acts. Like he's a good actor, so I think he's gonna be able to pull off being the heel like really well.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah, moving on. Overall disappointed with that one. But next was The Bar versus Braun Strowman and a partner of his choosing, which ended up being a 10-year-old boy, Nicholas, who he went out to the crowd and chose.
That was a surprise.
Yes, that was quite a surprise. Not any
that
of
was
the...
a surprise to everybody.
Yeah, not any of the rumored people that, they thought it might be. There's rumors that this is where Samoa Joe is going to make a return, or this is where Rey Mysterio is going to make his return because he's been in negotiations to come back to WWE part-time, or maybe it was going to be Big Cass, or maybe it was going to be Big Show's return, or whoever it could have been. But no, we get 10-year-old Nicholas.
Yeah. I wonder if Braun Strowman told him that, like, I'm going to go out there, but I'm going to pick a fan.
Yeah.
Not just any fan.
Well,
it's going to be a child.
Yeah, well,
What?
now that we're in the, we're in the know, so there's been reports now, so we do know who Nicholas is now.
Okay.
And Nicholas is actually the son of one of the referees, so
Okay.
he was planted out there, like, they knew he was gonna, they were gonna pick him, that
Yeah.
Braun would pick him, but, no, I thought it was a good segment.
Uh-huh.
Overall, I thought it was cool that, we get to see the guy, like, go out in the crowd and pick a kid, and, I'm sure that gets a lot of, 10-year-old boys or girls out there all excited, like, oh man, if I go to a wrestling match, maybe they'll pick me to be a partner one day, or kind of thing. So I thought that was cool.
That is cool. I mean, my mom saw this part with me too, so she's like, oh my gosh, why is that kid up there? Oh my god. I'm like, oh, he's probably some Make-A-Wish kid. She's like, oh.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were speculating at first before people were able to find out that he was the son of one of the referees.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome too.
Yeah, but what did you think about this overall?
Yeah, well, Braun Strowman, it was fast, so Braun Strowman kicked Sheamus's and Cesaro's butts.
Yeah.
By himself, of course.
Yeah. When he tagged Nicholas in, though, like, the crowd went crazy. The crowd was, like, they were excited to see the kid get tagged in. And, of course, he gets that scary look from Cesaro, so he turns around and tags Braun Strowman back in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I thought overall it was a good match. I've heard some people saying, like, oh, well, that was really dumb that Braun Strowman beat the Bar by himself with a kid, because that makes the Bar look really bad, and I don't think it does. I don't think it's an indictment on the Bar at all. From the way I take it, I think maybe it's an indictment on the rest of the tag team, especially on the side of Raw tag teams. It's an indictment on them overall, because I don't think Vince McMahon would do anything in intention to bury the Bar, because Sheamus and Cesaro both really good. So I think, especially with the storyline, how it went throughout the week, I think, now that we know the Bar is going to defend it at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and that these other teams are now in like a very small tournament to see who gets to go against them, I think it's like kind of sent as a message of like, okay, you other tag teams, like somebody step up and show me who can perform as good as these guys, because we need somebody else to perform with them, because nobody else is doing a good job right now.
Yeah.
So overall, I thought it was good, and I don't think I mean, it just made Braun Strowman look that much stronger because he beat two guys by himself. And you know, it's Braun Strowman, so I'm not going to blame Sheamus and Cesaro for losing to him.
Yeah.
And then next up, we got our main event, which was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and big surprise here, Brock Lesnar actually got the win. Keeps the Universal title, and you know, he's sticking around in the WWE. What did you think of this match?
Well, I was rooting for Roman Reigns, but it looks like Brock Lesnar and he's a big, giant, heavy dude, so he got, I don't know, Roman Reigns got his butt kicked. He got, what was it, elbows and fists to the head, and
Yeah, got all bloodied up.
oh my god, that was a lot of blood.
Yeah,
I think that's the first time I've seen that in wrestling.
Yeah,
where they bleed.
It was a lot of blood too. I mean,
it was just like all over. I'm like,
yeah.
oh my god.
I was surprised. I was actually a little bit legitimately concerned for him. I was like, oh wow, like I've seen wrestlers bleed, but man, he is bleeding. Like, because at first when he's kind of hunched over and he's got his head like rested on his arm and he's got blood all over his arm. I was like, oh, that looks like a lot of blood. And then he like eventually gets up and then it's all running down his face like a waterfall. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of blood.
Yeah, it was just going everywhere.
Yeah.
I was concerned for him, but I don't know if it was intentional or if it just happened while he was getting elbowed in the head.
Yeah, and it turned out here, Roman Reigns didn't mount much offense at all. I mean, Brock kind of squashed him, and you know, so it was a total surprise to me. You know, because of it being Roman Reigns and fans, you know, fans being 50-50 on him, and the same thing with Brock Lesnar, they kind of hijacked the match. Like, I think if fans would have given it a chance, like, they would have saw that it was actually really good performing that was going on. But, you know, the fans were already chanting, like, this is awful, and, you know, booing and a whole bunch of other stuff instead of getting them, like, I haven't done this yet myself, but I've heard on a couple different podcasts, like, people saying, like, oh, you know, you should, you know, if you go back and listen to that match on mute, like, you'll see, like, oh, wow, like, they're putting on a really good performance if you don't, like, pay attention to the fact that the fans are, you know, booing them like crazy. But, yeah, I was, like, shocked. I couldn't believe it myself. The only thing I'm afraid of is, like, that we're going to have to see this a lot more now, because I'm like, okay, we get it, like,
yeah.
Hopefully, like, this storyline is going to end soon, because we've been getting it for years now.
Really? With Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, it's not going to last too much longer. Hopefully they're going to start giving us something different.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of blood, I saw Charlotte's arm was bleeding too.
Yeah, I saw that something, you know, that Charlotte bled during the match. So I don't know at what point that happened to her, but yeah, I noticed that as well. Yeah, overall, I mean, the show itself was good. I think, you know, if he, like, what, my instant take, like, I was real, like, you know, I was in such shock that it hadn't quite set in yet, and I was, like, still, like, pretty upset about some stuff. But now that, you know, it's been a few days and had some time to let things settle in, I'm, like, not as upset about some things as I was. And I'm, like, you know, the matches that I was really excited for on the night, I'm even more excited for them now. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, those were really good. Yeah, I'm fine with Asuka losing. Like, that was a great match. You know, the Ronda Rousey match was a great match. And, like, just looking back at them now, I'm still like, yeah, those are matches that I'm going to be able to look back at for a long time and go like, wow, those are great matches. Yeah, overall, though, like, I'm happy with WrestleMania 34. I'm ready for the new year to kick off and see what we got going on and what kind of storylines we're going to come up with. We got the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up in, you know, 2 weeks now. So excited to see that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
These wrestlers.
Yeah, well,
Can't catch a break.
Yeah, well, and there's going to be a lot of big matches at that because, apparently Saudi Arabia is like paying a lot of money, so they're putting on this greatest Royal Rumble card is almost looking as good, maybe better than this WrestleMania card. So
Wow.
Saudi Arabia must be paying WWE a lot of money to come there. It's the first time, so they're making it a big show. But yeah, it must be a lot of money because
Yeah.
Undertaker's coming with, and Chris Jericho's coming back for this. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to be in a steel cage match. I think every single title is going to be, I don't know it's every single title, but this would be like 6 titles total that are going to be defended. So 6 title matches. So it's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, this show, WrestleMania 34. Overall, when I look back at it, it was good.
Yeah. When I look back at it too, it was good. But when I got out of it, after I crammed it all in my brain.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem is that, it's like 7 hours total of wrestling. And I think that's one of the other reasons why the fans hype
I wish
shit.
I could just space it out so I can enjoy each match, but it's like I had to cramp it.
Yeah.
But, well, overall, after that whole thing, I felt like, well, what are they going to do with this? Like, where are they going with this, their story? Because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. Because I thought one thing.
With Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with Asuka.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was really upset about Asuka as well when she lost. But, looking back on it now, I'm like, okay, it's fine she lost. She lost to Charlotte. It is Charlotte. She's the best woman wrestler in there right now. So, if that's going to be her first loss, then at least it's to Charlotte and it's not to somebody else who's weaker. And it's, and it comes on the biggest stage. And now she can have, like, other storylines other than her only storyline is that she's undefeated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Now we can hear more Asuka.
Yeah. And I'm ready for more Asuka.
Yep.
Alright, and I'm ready for more wrestling, so we're gonna end the show here. Go check out more wrestling, the Raw after WrestleMania, SmackDown after WrestleMania, and then eventually we'll get another episode up for you here on a review of those. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
Alright, bye.
Bye.